This is gonna be so much work. I don't want to study any of this. Like, too much work. Snow depth.
Icy.
Equivalent snow.
Snowy.
Hey, you guys see this breaking news? Check
Yo,
that
what?
out.
What's happening?
What's happening, bro?
If you're just tuning in, we are covering a developing story today. Here in the Front Range of Colorado, there is real warm conditions, and that is resulting in a lot of snow melt here in the Rocky Mountains. And not only snow melt, but it's record ice melt from the glaciers. And particularly, we're looking at Arapahoe Glacier, and this is faster melt than we've ever seen before. And so we're worried about downstream flooding and some of the other consequences that come with this warm weather. Am I getting this right? And there's a public safety concern related to the snow and ice melt that is happening at the Arapahoe Glacier. I'm being told that there is, by our correspondent, that there is something like an ice or snow monster that is wreaking havoc all over the Front Range. And it's in this region right here. And if we have this information correct, it sounds like that ice and snow monster is making its way down the Front Range, down the foothills, towards Boulder.
Dude, I can't believe there's like an ice monster.
I know, it's like crazy.
I'm scared. What if it comes down the boulder?
I know, it starts chasing us. Be like very
I don't know what to do. I feel like we're just like, I don't know, I'm just scared. I'm scared. Yo, what is that? Yo, is that a snow monster? Yo, what the heck? Where is he?
I think we're good. Hey, let's go to the lab. You want to change this?
Oh my gosh, I need something. I need something. Oh, here's something. I'm ready. Oh my god! We finally got you. Oh my gosh! What are you doing?
What's happening?
Oh my gosh!
Go ahead.
So let me get this straight.
We're going to have to embrace sustainable transportation and adopt a green diet.
And we're gonna have to conserve energy and water. And we're gonna have to support eco-friendly initiatives and educate and inspire others. Alright. It's gonna be hard, but I think we can do it.
We'll work it out.
Bye, Ice Monster.
See ya. See ya, brother.
Good working things out. What is your name and what do you do?
I'm Keith Musselman. I am a professor at the Institute of Arctic and Alpine Research and the Department of Geography.
What is the easiest part of your job?
I think the easiest part of my job is what I find to be the most fun. And what I find to be fun is exploring science, asking hard questions, exploring information about the Earth and the Earth system, and also mentoring students. I like mentoring graduate students and doing science together collaboratively.
What is your favorite thing to study and why?
My favorite thing to study is snow, and one of the reasons I like snow is, first of all, I've always been interested in rivers and water, lakes, but also realizing, particularly out here in the West, that most of our water that comes out of our faucet comes from snow and snow melt in the mountains, and so that is one of the things that I like to study. I also like to play in snow. I like to ski and snowboard, and so this is the best of all worlds for me. I get to go recreate and study at the same time.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to college at the University of Vermont, so way up in the Northeast, a college called UVM.
Just related to the playing in the snow, would you want to ask something about how that relates to the science that you study? Like, do you think about those things when you're out there skiing up in the mountains?
Yeah, so I think a lot about snow. I think a lot about snow when I'm playing in it. I think a lot about snow when I'm sitting at my computer, my desk, and I think a lot about snow when I'm teaching. And so it's fun to link all of those passions that are, the things that I like to do when I'm outside, observing the weather and climate, which we all do, and then teaching about it. So it kind of links all of those interests and pastimes.
What do humans do that damage our water source up in the mountains?
So much. We affect our natural environment in many ways. The biggest thing that we're doing to our water resources is using it, and so we're taking it away. And the biggest use of our water right now is agriculture. So about 70% of our water that we use goes to farms and goes to grow crops for livestock. And so that is probably our biggest challenge, is making sure that everyone gets the water they need. And so thinking about the farmers who need the water, and then the cities and the towns that need water resources. But then if you take all that water out of the rivers and streams, there's nothing left for the ecosystem. So for the plants and the trees that drink that water, and for the trout that Colorado is really well known for, also the fisheries, and the other ecosystems that are related to what we call riparian corridors, or river and stream systems. And so the biggest thing that we're doing is taking away water from those systems for use for society.
What is something that we can do to fix that?
I think talking about it, and I think one of the big things is thinking about how do we allocate our water appropriately, and what that means is how do we share? How do we make a plan to make sure that everyone gets the water they need? And how do we know what climate change is going to do to the water allocations? So water for people, water for agriculture, and water for the natural systems.
Does the amount of water humans can drink go down every year?
The water available for people has not been changing. So one of the interesting things is that the amount of water we have on Earth is conserved. It means it's not leaving the planet. It's kind of just moving around in different places. And so we have periods of drought, and then we have periods of wet. And so we cycle through that, and it might be every other year, it might be sometimes decades, where we have a decade, 10 years of drought. But on average, that water will always be available. And that's a big question, is how will that water available change? And one of the things we're worried about is with warming, we'll have less snow that accumulates up in the mountains. And that is like, if you think about a reservoir or a lake that you can use to pull water out and to irrigate your crops in the summer when you really need that water, the mountains form one of these natural reservoirs. So water accumulates in the form of snowpack, and then after storm after storm after storm, it builds deeper and deeper and deeper, and then spring and summer starts to come, and it's like a natural faucet that gets turned on. When that snowpack starts to melt, fills up those rivers, and then that water is available when people need it most. And so we rely on that natural system. But with climate change and warming, we're reducing how much snow can be held up in the mountains, and then that's one of the biggest challenges to water availability with respect to climate change is that we are losing, essentially poking holes in this perfect natural reservoir system that can no longer hold water to provide it when we need it.
How often do you travel to other places to study?
For work, I probably travel once a month, maybe a little less than that.
What type of businesses emit like the most greenhouse gas?
That's a good question. If you think about greenhouse gas emissions, there are things that are obvious. The airline industry is big. Automobiles are big emitters. But there are other industries that we don't really think about as much, like the production of cement, that goes into the building of all of our cities. We use cement in all of our houses, for example, and many of our roads. And that is a big emitter of carbon dioxide. Yeah.
I think that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.